With Strixhaven just around the corner, people are incredibly hyped for the mystical archives. These are unique cosmetic variations of iconic spells. They will be coming in the booster packs for Strixhaven, 1 per pack and multiple in the collectors. There will be the normal ones in English with their like sort of abstract arts, and there's also going to be the Japanese themed ones as well. You can Japanese artists, Japanese art styles, and in Japanese language. For the most part, barring a handful of them that people are a little bit off on, people seem to be very, very excited by these archives. People are hyped. But there is one small problem with the mystical archives. It's their implementation on MTG Arena, and it's because their implementation is a fucking joke. The mystical archives have been fraught with an unusual amount of controversy. Firstly, the faithless looting art turned every Magic nerd into an art expert, believing they could do better if they would just stop masturbating in their own mother's basement long enough to actually try. Then we have Jason Felix literally copy and pasting elements from fan art to compose his Crux of Fate art and getting caught out. OMG Scary Pet on Twitter was the original artist and brought this to the attention of Twitter collectively via some posts that got some traction. Wizards eventually made a statement acknowledging it and ceasing to work with Jason pending a satisfactory outcome for all involved. Now Jason has admitted it, he did plagiarize in a moment of weakness. People were clambering for me to commentate on this and discuss this when I was talking about the faithless looting art. And if I'm honest with you, I didn't have much to add or say. There was some facts, like it was very clear that he'd plagiarized. There was very few people trying to defend that. And then Wizards admitted it. Then he admitted it. There's nothing really of value to add. All I hope is that the original artist is being compensated as Jason suggested. If not, then I will publicly speak out and fight for that person to be compensated. Because if their art is showing up on a card game made by a corporate entity like Wizards of the Coast, they shouldn't just be allowed to have artists plagiarize, them get in trouble, and Wizards keep the money they're making off of other people's art. That wouldn't be okay. But as far as we understand it, they are getting compensated. So that's that. I think a lot of people were asking me to comment on this because they want to know the tea and they want some drama. I don't think they really care too much about the integrity of the artists involved. Finally, we have the Japanese Ephemerate and Memory Lapse have their arts mixed up during previews. Like the actual cards we saw during previous season, these digital renderings, I guess mock-ups prior to the actual creation of the physical asset. Well, the arts got mixed up. Supposedly, this won't be on the actual cards and was only in preview season. This is super interesting and suggests a little more quality assurance would go a long way, but it's nothing major. I just brought those up for some context, to cover some things, to be comprehensive and to, make a record of this history as we talk about what I'm about to talk about. I'm going to throw some more fuel on the fire, some more controversy to all this. People are aware of this already. I've seen people tweeting about this that kind of really brought it to my attention as well. It's that the MTG Arena economy is a fucking joke, and Mystical Archives are unfortunately part of that as well. You see, the Mystical Archive stuff has had some rarity upshifts in paper and online. This has a knock-on effect on Arena we have never really seen before by this kind of rarity upshift. You see, when special sets come out, whether they be expeditions or from the vaults, or those cards often get shifted up in rarity to denote that they are special. This happened with the box toppers from Ultimate Masters as well. For example, the Eternal Witness here is not mythic. It is not a mythic rare. It's just to denote that it's special. That it's as rare as the other real mythics, inverted commas, like Liliana of the Veil. And truth be told, this kind of rarity upshifting has never really mattered in the past. The idea that Lotus Petal became a mythic in the From the Vaults box had no bearing on set legality, format legality should I say, or even the availability of the product per se either. What the fuck am I talking about? With the paper archives though, this is the first time that we've seen it matter on Arena. The uncommons are the cards that can be found in current standard. Cards like Eliminate, which is a playable card, or Divine Gambit, which is the exact opposite. An unplayable card, you might say. A card that also shows that white needs some better spells compared to all the other 4 colours, but that has been laboured as a point to death, so I'm not going to go into that here. I'm just going to throw some shade and move on. The rare cards are playable in the draft as you open them, but they are not standard legal. The majority of these are playable in Historic, with only a handful being pre-banned ahead of time, that being Channel, Counterspell, Dark Ritual, Demonic Tutor, Lightning Bolt, Natural Order, and Sword to the Plowshares. The problem is that putting these cards at rare is kinda shitty. And amongst these new cards, we have Faithless Looting and Brainstorm, two cards that will almost certainly be super impactful to the format, and they may even go as far as to warp or even dominate the metagame, shifting multiple archetypes to include them. Brainstorm is an absolute central column of Legacy, and Looting itself got banned in Modern for consistently powering oppressive play patterns that Wizards didn't want to be good. They actively quashed it by getting rid of Looting. So I guess that makes them both excellent fits for Historic, I guess. Questionable decisions about format cultivation aside, and that's a real problem for perhaps another video, these cards will be played, either moderately or very heavily, because both cards are very good. Brainstorm was a common when it first got printed in Ice Age, and was a common when last printed in Double Masters, and it's pretty much always been a common, barring the collectible versions of it we've seen, like Judge promos and shit. Faithless Looting 2 was a common when first printed, and every set since it has also been common. There is one rare version of this too, an IDW comic book promo showing Dak Faden in the art. The rarity symbol just tells you it's a rare version of it, a cosmetic upgrade, a collectible version. So what's the issue with Arena? Well, they're keeping the rarity on Arena as far as we know, which means that if you want to craft Brainstorm or Faithless Looting, you have to use rare wild cards. That's right, people are already frustrated and struggling to get enough rares and mythic wildcards to play their decks. The mana bases themselves demanding huge investments of wildcards, usually rare, as do the bomb, rare haymakers, and over time some of your removal too. Now, your cantrips and utility are also going to cost you rare wildcards. It's a fucking joke. We've all got an abundance of common and uncommon wildcards piling up, hoping to cash them in for future additions to Historic. Well, go fuck yourself. That just isn't going to happen. What we're getting to is a point where decks will cost you 40 to 50 wildcards to build, because all of the lands, the bombs, half of the removal, and now the fucking cantrips are rare. And this is a good way of making players lose their rare wildcards and have to crack more packs. Now, amongst the viewers here of this video, there'll be some of you who are taking a pause from licking the fucking boot of Wizards of the Coast to say something like, well, Vince, they're a company. Of course they've got to make money. But Vince, it's capitalism, and I know who Karl Marx is. Aren't I clever? The point is, we can point out when they're being shitty, we can point out when they're being predatory, and we can make a fuss about it. We can either be publicly very pissed off about it, which will sometimes elicit change, and then further to that, we can also just choose not to buy in. This is very clear to me that this is either a happy accident on the rarity upshifts of supplemental or extra cards like expeditions and such, or it's purposeful. There's only two ways, right? Happy accident that they make more money because people have to dump more wild cards in, spend more money on packs, or it was purposeful. Either way, it's shit. Don't forget that when Historic first came around, their plan was to have Historic rares outside of Standard, to cost 2 wild cards. This was, of course, a way to monetize the game better. Of course, each wildcard doesn't make the money, but if they make you burn more wildcards, you'll buy more packs. This was quashed because people were fucking annoyed, myself included. I made a video on this. I asked them, I begged them not to do it, because I wanted a non-rotating, historic format like Modern or Legacy to be on Arena, because I like playing formats that evolve slowly over time and don't rotate. The truth be told is that Wizards still has this thing where they think they can't monetize older formats beyond Standard. Standard is easy because your stuff rotates out and you gotta get new stuff. Pretty fucking easy. Modern and Legacy have historically always been those formats that someone on Reddit will tell you they can't make money from. However, they keep selling Modern Masters and Ultimate Masters and Eternal Masters, and in this case, chase rares like Expeditions and Archives and shit. All of these things are for Commander players and Legacy and Modern players and now Historic players. But of course, none of these things can possibly bring money into the pockets of Wizards of the Coast. Apparently. I think Wizards believe this bullshit too, or I don't really think too far ahead to all of this. I guess the problem being that you can monetize cosmetics, collectibles, you know, fanciful art. Secret Lair has shown this, right? It's not about giving people buy on demand the rare you need to play a format, although there has been a little bit of that. It's more so giving you alternate arts, and they sell by the fucking bucket load because there is a collector's market for Magic cards too. Like, even games with smaller competitive scenes, like Pokemon, for example, has cards that are worth a shit ton of money, because people will collect shit. It's the age-old argument that a Birds of Paradise from Alpha still costs you a fucking arm and a leg, yet they've printed it a million times. Because people want the rarer versions, the older versions, the cosmetically different versions. You can monetize the cosmetics of this shit, as we've seen with Time Spiral Remastered and Old Borders, without hindering players' abilities to get the fucking game pieces. It's why they should be reprinting fetch lands at every fucking opportunity, and then giving us primo foil Old Border ones for boomers like me and whales like, I don't know, Trevor down the game store to fucking clamber for. The only way to get wildcards right now is to just crack packs. You can't upshift your commons and uncommons to them. They're coming up with ways like this, either accidentally or on purpose, to make you hemorrhage more rare wildcards. You can't dust. You can't just buy the wildcards. You just have to crack packs, and that fits perfectly into what they want. So I get why they're doing it. It's just fucking shitty. And don't forget, adding to all this, that Anthologies 4, Historic Anthologies 4, which was the last lot of cards that were immediately injected into Historic, was, for lack of a better term, complete fucking piss garbage. And they knew, or they should know, that Brainstorm and Faithless Looting are off in the fucking distance coming towards Historic, and they're like, do you want some commons and uncommons we didn't put into Amonkhet Remastered? It's like they sold you a product they knew was going to be obsolete within moments, which is kind of, when you extrapolate it, just the Magic game plan anyway, right? They want you to buy more packs, so the next packs will have better shit in them. But this is hideous. The Historic Anthologies was a dog shit thing that they kind of made out that you want to buy because you want to be able to play Historic, and round the corner suddenly we find out we're getting primo powerful cards like Brainstorm and Faithless Looting, except they're upshifted now, because the rarity helps them to make you have to spend more money. In reality, there is a very simple fucking solution to all of this. Make the cards common, let people cash in their abundance of fucking common wild cards for good cards like Faithless Looting and Brainstorm, and then make the skins, the alternative art, the cosmetics, the flashy, warbling, moving art, and the foil treatments, and all that shit. Make that the cosmetic that you can buy in the store for real world cash, because I can guarantee they've got the numbers. People buy that shit. People love cosmetics in video games. Or have those be chase things that people can crack packs for as well. Because people are going to crack the packs regardless, right? Might as well put the chase cosmetics in there instead of the game pieces we need to play the fucking game. Even companies like Riot have moved away from locking rune pages and mastery pages and the characters behind paywalls, making them easily obtainable either by the free-to-play grind or the in-game currency you accrue. Of course you can get packs for the in-game currency of Arena, and you can draft using the in-game currency of Arena as well. But the main game pieces should be easy to obtain. They shouldn't be being put behind further paywalls. You should be charging us for the cosmetics, because people will buy cosmetics if they don't feel that they're getting hammered elsewhere. And that's my thoughts on the fucking matter. I am a bit bugged out about it, because I think Historic is important. I think Historic is important to give players like myself something to play on Arena, and I know it's not always healthy, but I think the format is still fun, even when there are de facto best decks like Sacrifice or Goblins or whatever. You still got room to fuck about and have fun in it. And as they continue to mismanage the reprinting of staples for older formats like Legacy and Modern, I will never stop playing Legacy and Modern because I love them. But newer players find it harder and harder to get into them because they just won't reprint the fetch lands in a meaningful way because they want to keep the reprint equity because it helps them to make the fucking money. So with that problem here, it feels like Historic can be the format. It's Pioneer, isn't it? Let's be real. Historic can be that. It has a different identity. It has the jumpstart cards. It has Muxus in it when Modern doesn't, for example. It can be a thing that we might even start playing in paper one day as a cheaper endpoint for the format. So it just pisses me off to see them make decisions like this. I've been Vince, also known as PleasantKenobi on the internet. I hope you've enjoyed my rather pissed off rant today. There'll be some more positive and upbeat gameplay and other videos coming later in the week as well. Warhammer Wednesday, some Pokemon card openings, EDH and chill, and all that good shit. If you like this video, hit the like button down below and let me know in the comment section as well how you feel. Is this a joke? Am I overblowing it? Is it just a case that we have to just like sort of suck it up and see and just let it go? Or do you think actually, fuck it, like you're going to stop playing Historic if they keep doing this shit? Anyway, I've been Vince, also known as PleasantKenobi on the internet. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And I'll see you in the next one. Ta-ta for now.